to the next episode of the Business is Pleasure podcast with myself, your host with the most, John R. Francis, and co-owner of the coolest, dopest vintage streetwear brand all over the internet and especially in all of Canada. It's true. These are facts. I did not just make any of this up. This is actual evidence. Okay, babe? So welcome back, guys. Of course, I'm here again with the beautiful Colette. She's also the co-owner of Clarendon Co. And she has some amazing news for you guys. I think, babe, it's really important that you share this time with our audience. Let them know, like, the process that you've been going through maybe the last year and a half, how you've had issues, like, trying to get your own career started.
So you're gonna let me talk or you
Hold on. So how you've talked about how your career was off to an amazing start. You had a few adversities come your way. You knocked them all out like Mike Tyson. And now you're here standing tall and strong. So if you have a couple minutes, I'd love for you to share that story.
You're putting me on the spot.
I know. You're excited though, don't lie.
Yeah.
I know you want to tell it so badly.
Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna talk about it right now. Okay, I just saw 111. So yeah, I got a part-time job, another part-time job as a professor at a college around here, and I'm really excited. It's a really interesting opportunity. I don't know if I mentioned it yet or not, but I'm a certified public health inspector, so it's kind of like in that realm of information. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm nervous. I have three classes, so I have to prepare for all of them, and I'm just excited. It starts in September. Should be good.
I'm kind of happy because like I get to like sleep with a professor, so I'm like really happy about that, babe.
Okay, you're weird.
I'm excited about that. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So like
Nobody else thought about that.
I did, babe. That's what the good thing about it. Like I get to say that. Like you know what I mean?
Okay.
But so like, how about the backstory and everything? Like,
Okay, so the backstory, basically, like I struggled to find something in my field for I'd say like a year and a half, almost 2 years, and like it was really hard because I don't know, I'm a really like goal-oriented and like driven person, so it was difficult just facing so many like closed doors. I almost got to the point where I was like, am I just really bad at interviews? But I know like I'm not. I just like wasn't getting certain opportunities for whatever reason, I guess because this was coming up and that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But yeah, it was tough. It was obviously like nerve-wracking, especially when your parents are immigrants and like every single time they talk to you, it's like, are you doing anything with your life yet? Because like honestly, I'm running a business, but like to them, they're just kind of like, oh.
play around too much.
Yeah, like
get too serious. Why don't you have a pension?
Yeah,
That's the most important thing.
They don't necessarily like understand that aspect. No like disrespect to them, but they just like it's just a different mindset, different time. So yeah, like they were just kind of like getting at me all the time. So obviously like that was playing on my like emotional like well-being and stuff like that. But yeah, I made it through. Then yeah, we'll see how it goes. I have really high expectations. I think it's gonna go really, really well. So I'll keep you guys updated, and we'll.
I think it will go really, really well too, right? Because like based off of the other business that you do with the consulting,
Yeah.
it's a really similar context that you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
So I think the transition is going to be a bit easy.
Yeah.
But if anything, I think it's just more so like over a 4-month span, maybe like maintaining relationship with certain students.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean, like doing those type of things. I think like those other things where like, that's not really talked about might be a bit harder.
And just like organization, like that's the only thing I'm a little bit nervous about. Like obviously I'm really organized, but I'm just a little bit like being a teacher, like you have to like work with like the platforms that the school has and like putting out different messaging and like doing certain things like talk to like communicate with the students. And I don't know, I'm sure like it's like anything new, like when you start it you don't know what you're doing, and then eventually as you go through it you learn more. So we'll see, but that's like probably like the only thing I'm nervous about, just like learning like there are like you know like how like universities and colleges use like Blackboard or like
oh yeah.
like using that, like uploading assignments, like doing stuff like that. But
you're worried about uploading assignments? That's what you're worried about? That's like, oh, am I gonna press the right button to send it? Like I think you'll be fine with it.
I think I'll be fine too.
No, you'll definitely.
But yeah, overall, that's my week. Well, that's kind of like the highlight of my week. But how was your week?
My week was interesting, man. I had like a lot of ups and downs and everything. Of course, like we had our own like personal beef that we were going through and everything. So like we're still trying to like, work at that and everything. But I think for the most part, like my week was good because it allowed me to like really put like our business with our relationship in a whole different perspective to get a better understanding of like how much I need you in my life, man. And without you there, I don't know, man. So like it was really good in terms of like those things and everything. But overall, like I think we had a really good week. It was a bit slow in terms of sales. Because of course, like we weren't as engaged in our community as much as we should have been, which is like of course 100% our fault.
Yeah.
But we've implemented a new strategy in terms of like sales, which is working out really well for us right now.
Really
So
well.
we're gonna try and continue doing that. And then we also had the 2 events that we did yesterday.
Yeah.
So I think overall it was really good.
It was a good week. So this was kind of like a milestone for us this past weekend because we did 2 events on the same day, which we've never done before because usually if we do an event, like we'll obviously both be there together. But I went to the Etsy Toronto event, and you went to
Soul Exchange. So if you're not familiar with Soul Exchange, it's essentially like the sneaker con of Ontario.
Yeah, exactly. So my event was actually, it was good.
So what's Etsy like? Can you give me a little background?
So
on what Etsy is?
Etsy is basically like an online selling app. It's also
Marketplace or whatever.
Marketplace essentially. So it's just where people can sell like a variety of different things. They can sell like jewelry or clothing or like handcrafted gifts or things that are handmade or homemade. Basically an array of different things. It's a lot different from say something like Amazon, for example, where like everything that's sold on there is like brand new, whereas like through Etsy it's a lot of like crafted things, homemade things, reselling things, vintage stuff, those types of things, right? So it was an interesting event. There's probably about 40 vendors there. It was at a location downtown. The day was great. Like, it was really nice weather. It was indoors. The traffic was good. We've been to like a variety of different events. We've been to really, high traffic events that are a little bit slower, events that are kind of in between. The traffic was good. I'd say like the demographic for this event, it was an Etsy marketplace, so it was a lot of women, a lot of older women, and that was pretty much it. So I think in terms of our stuff selling there, it was a little bit challenging, just because our demographic is like 12 to at a maximum like 29, and that demographic really wasn't there as much. But I'm proud to say, anyone who was there from that demographic definitely bought something.
Nice.
So that was good. But yeah, overall, like, it was a good event. We'll definitely do it again in the future. But the demographic that I saw for that day in particular was a little bit different from what we like need essentially. But like overall, it was a really well executed event.
Yeah, and I think that's always one of the hardest things too when it comes to any event. It's like, will our people be there? And I think like automatically when we hear Etsy, we're like, yeah, of course, it's known for like vintage and curating that kind of community.
Yeah.
And I guess like it was unfortunate that like it didn't work out as well as we liked it to.
Yeah.
But it's like what we said, like sometimes it's not always about sales. How can you like still seize the day? Like,
Of course.
are we handing out business cards? Are we
Of
getting
course.
leads? Are you like
Of course.
engaging with people?
To me, at the end of the day, like, for me, like, an event, the main priority for myself personally is to engage with people, talk to people, and to let them know about Clarendon.co.
100%.
Selling is like a bonus. Like, if we get the opportunity to sell a bunch of stuff, that is fantastic too. But at the end of the day, like, that's how you build a brand. That's how you build a business. Are people knowing your face? Are people knowing what types of products that you're selling and seeing you on a regular basis? Like, that is such a big component as well. Like, we can sell anywhere. We can sell on apps. Like, even when we're at an event, I'm still posting on the apps.
Yep.
I'm still like doing stuff to make sure that we're still getting sales regardless. But yeah, it was good overall.
Yeah, most definitely. My event, it was nice though because like I had a couple like heartfelt moments or whatever, and it kind of like reinvigorated me in terms of like why. Well, not reinvigorated, but reminded me why I do enjoy doing this. And it's because like I'm starting to realize that like I'm not really a careerist, so like the whole like corporate world isn't like ideal for me, but it's still good. But the thing I really do enjoy about Clarendon.co is that like if we're able to bring value to people, and like I think like this weekend was one of the first times where in person someone was like, hey, like I like your guys' content, like continue, you know what I mean? And it was nice too because like it kind of showed that like we're around the demographic that's actually gonna appreciate and utilize those things the most. And so like so for people to come up and be like, yo guys, good job, like keep up the good work. It's like, yo, like we're doing something that actually means something to someone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes like when you're in like different environments, it's just like you keep your head down and you just work, and you don't really get the opportunity to like really be like, you don't really get the opportunity to really be noticed, you know. And that's like the good thing about Clarendon.co, like we give ourselves the opportunity to be noticed, because like it's up to us at the end of the day to make sure that like we're creating content, we're going to events, we're talking to people, we're bringing value.
Yeah.
So like for that aspect of the event, I think it was amazing. But overall, Soul Exchange is really the #1 marketplace when it comes to high-end apparel, sneakerhead culture in all of Canada.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was a little disappointed, not necessarily of the event, just so of the organization, of the way it was, because they generally had it.
Well, it was a
Okay. Yeah. What?
It was well organized. That's not the right word. It was just the layout.
Okay, yeah, the layout was really off. Right? The layout was really off. They did something I've never seen before ever. Usually all events are in one room. They had 2 separate rooms, and as a vendor, I didn't even know there were 2 rooms. So my thought is like, if the people that are coming here to buy now, how would they know there are 2 different rooms?
Yeah.
Yes, throughout the day, they would be like, the DJ would be like, hey guys, don't forget the other room, don't forget the other room, or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think that did help a bit, but the traffic just wasn't there consistently. Maybe the event was about 6 hours, maybe about for an hour and a half, you had really good high traffic, but for the rest of the event, it was just really in and out, nothing crazy.
But at the same time, in reference to that, I don't think that necessarily is Soul Exchange itself. I think it's that location. Because
we had traffic there,
Yeah, because we did another event there probably like, I don't know, what did you say, like 6 months ago, 8 months, like last year.
Last summer, it was last summer.
Yeah, you're right. We did another event there last summer, and it was the same thing. It was the same thing. Literally, like the traffic was really low, because like, yes, it's downtown, but it's a really like residential area. Like it's not really residential, because obviously downtown you can only get so residential, but like it's kind of like in like a little enclave. So like you'll have like the main streets, like it's kind of like off, what is it, Queen?
Yeah.
You'll have like the main busy street, and then like there'll be like a smaller street with like condos like kind of like encased around it, and then that's where like the factory looking place is.
Yeah, glass factory.
Glass factory, but it's like, it's cool for like weddings or like receptions or like a private party, but like if you're having an event where like you kind of want to have like a little bit of that foot traffic, obviously it's a little bit different for like sneaker events because people are going there for that event, but you still kind of want to get like your like brand
There's some walker by
that's just walking by like out with their friends or like enjoying the day, and then they're like, oh hey, like what's this, let me check it out and see what it is,
real quick,
you know? So like that, you don't really have the option for that at that location.
No, 100%. But goes back, like if we go back to what you were saying, right? Sometimes it's not always about the sales; it's about engaging, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was good. Well, I was fortunate enough because I ended up meeting someone early in the day. We talked, chopped it up a little bit. And then later on, he ends up bringing his friend, and they end up buying like a bunch of pieces of Off-White, right? So like sometimes we got to remember, it's like even maybe the event isn't going your way in terms of like sales, it's not high traffic. You still gotta be consistent.
Yeah.
You still gotta be consistent. That's no reason for you to be sitting down, not talking to people, not giving out cards or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So like I always try to say to myself, it's like we have a system that's in place that works well for us.
Yeah.
Despite how much people are here, despite how much vendors are here, we need to focus on what we can do. And I think that's what's most important, you know?
And I feel like we always do that. Like we'll be at events where people will be like, oh man, like the event was so bad, it was so slow, blah blah blah, and we'll be like, oh, I didn't really think that. Or like we'll be at events where we literally like we'll be at events we don't even need a chair. Like we're literally standing the whole entire time, like talking to people the whole entire time, and then like you'll see other people that literally just like sit down the whole time.
Yeah.
Like maybe that works for them, but like to me, like when I go into a store, if I go into any store, it doesn't matter if it's like it doesn't even matter if I'm like going to get something or not. When I go into a store and if you don't acknowledge me,
I'm leaving.
Especially if the store is empty. It's one thing if the store is busy and like you don't even notice I walked in, but if the store is empty and you look at me numerous times and you don't even say like hi.
I remember when we were in Montreal and we went to the store. It was kind of like a store that we would like in like terms of hype stuff.
Yeah.
And there were these 2 girls working at the desk, and like as soon as you walk in, you see the desk. They looked at us, just continued talking. We would walk around the store like looking at stuff, didn't ask us how we were doing, didn't ask us for help or anything.
Yeah.
After I remember you were like, honestly, John, let's just go. I was like, yeah, okay, you're a boss, so let's go.
Yeah, like to me, if you don't acknowledge my presence and I'm spending my hard-earned money in your store, even regardless of if it's your store, you're a worker there, or like somebody else owns it, at the end of the day, it's a place where you work. And I'm like spending my money there, and you don't even like have a second to be like, hi. That takes literally less than a second.
And especially with me though, with my mindset, if I went to a store like that, I'm thinking like, yo, the company's just bad. Like, how are you guys? I'm sure one of them were the supervisor or the manager.
Yeah.
It's like, how are you guys not like saying like, hey, like, it's at least hi, like,
yeah.
give me a head nod at least.
Yeah.
Like,
So like essentially what that goes back to is like when we're at events, like
we're our brand.
we're a brand, and like I appreciate the people that like come out, like regardless if they're gonna buy from us or not, like I still want to let them know that like I value you, not just because you're a potential customer, but I value you as a person, and I want to talk to you about like Planet on Cone, our brand, and I'm gonna acknowledge your presence. You know what I mean? Like,
And that's important. I think like especially as a business, one of the major things we want to always get is attention. And if we're not making the effort to like reach out to people and like get their attention, what are we doing there? You know?
Yeah,
So it definitely doesn't make any sense. So aside from attention, I think one thing that's also important is like the steps you take to do things strategically. Because I remember when we initially started sending emails out, it was just like, well, let's just send them out to anyone within our industry, within the fashion realm, and like try to figure it out from there. And like now that we're trying to more so like sell predominantly to like stores within themselves, I think it's important that our next steps, we have to strategically message people, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, if we're messaging this person, what do we want out of it? What can we bring to them? And how are we gonna accomplish this, you know?
yeah.
So I think our whole idea now, like with the whole Off-White, we do really well selling it for ourselves, going to events, doing it online. It helps with our numbers and everything, helps with our marketing, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
Now still being able to do that, but now expanding it on a bit by actually giving it to like numerous stores within Ontario, within all over Canada, some in the States. I think that's gonna allow us to like really grow extremely well. Because I think Off-White and a lot of like the hype-use brands, there is a hard time finding them because because if it was so easy, everyone would have it and they wouldn't be as popular.
Yeah.
So I think we're at an advantage because like we essentially like know the plug fairly well.
Yeah.
So I think it's time for us to like go a bit harder and just be a lot more strategic in terms of like
Yeah.
that aspect of our business anyway.
And also more organized for ourselves too as well. Because like if we're doing either like wholesale or like consignment with an obviously in large numbers with like a number of different stores, like we're gonna have to be organized in reference to like who has our product, how much they're selling it for, and how much we should expect to get back from whatever they're selling. Like it shouldn't just be like, oh hey, I got a check waiting for you for X amount, and we're like, okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
You know what I mean? Like we should have an account for it, or not a specific account for it, but we should account for it in some way. Obviously we do through our inventory,
Yeah, no, most
but we should have like even if it's like a spreadsheet, like
That's
this store has these many items, this store has
That's
these
exactly
many items.
what I want to do.
Yeah.
That's exactly with the sizes and everything too.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think we should do.
Because
going
even we
forward.
had a mix up the other day where like one of the stores had one of the sizes and styles that we needed to ship out, and then it took us longer because we had to go down to the store, get the item, like you know what I mean, like that could have been avoided. That could have been avoided, you know.
Yeah, it's just extra work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the upside of it is of course like the amount of volume that we're gonna be able to move, and also like it's dope too because like now we're building better relationship with all these stores and everything too.
Yeah.
So hopefully they can return the favor. If it doesn't happen, whatever, it's fine.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And also a better relationship with our supplier too,
Mm-hmm.
because like we're purchasing a lot, you know what I mean. So like they help us out in times when we're like, yeah, we need this like rushed, we need it in like 3 days, or like help us not to pay for shipping, like you know what I mean, like stuff like that.
No, most definitely.
Yeah.
And it's good too because like this whole thing that we're doing, it's like again we're bringing value to people. The stores have an issue finding the product, we'll help them out. Our supplier of course wants to move more items, we're helping them out as too. And of course we're doing this, we're getting a financial gain. Our customers are happy because they're getting products that they have hard times finding. So
Yeah.
I think overall, like I really like that idea. It's something that like
it's a win-win.
Mhm.
I think the only thing with selling high-end things, obviously, there's a risk to lose more money
Yeah.
at the same time. Like we had an issue with PayPal recently, right? You want to talk about it?
yeah, of course. And like I think it was just really annoying because it's like you hope that you do business with people that are honest and that aren't trying to be like malevolent or do anything bad at
Yeah.
least at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So essentially what happened, we had a person on one of our selling apps, they wanted to buy an Off-White t-shirt, and we were like, okay, cool, whatever. They were asking questions about it. They purchased it. We, took it
Regular
out.
process.
Regular process. We got the package together, shipped it out, sent them the tracking number. Probably like
A day
after they received the tracking number, they opened up a dispute with PayPal, saying that they didn't authorize the transaction. So in my head, I was thinking like,
A young teenager
yeah.
took his parents' credit card.
Exactly.
Like, that's exactly what I thought.
I
Exactly
literally
what
thought, I was like, okay, maybe it's like a little kid like maybe like a 12, 13-year-old. He took his parents' card, didn't ask them, bought something, and then they saw it after and were like, okay, what's this like?
And the reason why I had that hunch in my mind was because one of the messages he said, he's like, oh, when you guys ship it, make sure it looks like a gift.
Yeah.
Not like
Yeah.
not like an item that I actually bought or whatever. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, he's probably just trying to hide it from his parents.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. So whatever, he opened up a dispute with PayPal, and then we obviously messaged him and we were like, hey, like what's going on? Like, did you not purchase this? Was it someone else? Like, was it a mistake? Like, can we get some information? Obviously, no response. We messaged him again because PayPal's asking us for information, and literally all we have is like the conversation. So again, we messaged him saying like, hey, like, can you help us resolve this issue? Because like the package is already en route to you. I'm pretty sure you've already received it, right? You already received it at that point.
At that point, at that point, he did receive it.
Yeah.
Because you got it July 30th.
Yeah, he'd already received it. So we're like, okay, like you have the product, we don't have the payment for it. Like, what's going on?
No, we had the payment, but it was on hold.
It was on hold.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially. Like, so what's going on? Obviously, still no answer. And then, long story short, PayPal, they usually always side on the side of the buyer because obviously they want people to buy through PayPal, so it benefits them to keep the integrity of the buyer intact. So they sided with the buyer, even though he essentially scammed us.
No, he scammed us.
Yeah, even though he did scam us, and they reissued him money, so they issued a refund, and he obviously still has the product.
Yeah,
So.
and the worst part too is just that like, a part of me is in denial. I'm like, oh no, he's gonna respond. Waiting for it to respond. Like, we've been messaging him maybe 4 or 5 times since August 3rd, and he hasn't responded.
Yeah.
And as much as I was annoyed, I think it's a lot of it also. We should be looking at ourselves. It's like, what steps do we have so there is no fraud that's committed against us? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are we looking at the backgrounds of the buyers? Are we looking if they're verified? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I think a lot of times we just get in our heads, we're like, oh, we got a sale.
Yeah.
Let's go ship it out. Like, you know
Yeah,
what I
like
mean?
we just like run the mill because we're like, oh, another sale, okay, ship it out. Oh, another sale, okay, ship it out. We don't like think like, okay, wait, like let's look into this buyer, especially if it's off-white. If it's a vintage piece, like
Yeah, it's like $30. Like, oh, who cares?
we're not really losing that much. But if it's like off-white, like we're losing obviously a lot more. And then we looked into the background of the buyer after, realized on the app he only had, what was it, 2 transactions?
Yeah, he probably scammed us and someone else.
Yeah, so on the app he only had 2 transactions. He had no reviews, and then
No products listed either. He wasn't even selling anything.
yeah, no products listed, and then he also, his account wasn't verified by PayPal. So it was pretty much our fault.
Yeah, like no, like in all reality it is. But the thing
Yeah.
I like about our mentality though, that we don't beat ourselves up about it. We find a solution,
And we move on.
and then we figure out what we did wrong.
And like at the end of the day, we're running a business, and like this is kind of just the cost of running a business.
Yeah.
Like I would like to hope that this is the last time this is gonna happen, but I know it's not.
No.
Like I know.
And it happened to us before too, right? When we worked at eBay, right?
Yeah, it's happened to us before, but for smaller amounts.
Mhm.
But like, you know what I mean? I know this is gonna happen again. Like, I know there's gonna be other situations. So it's just like, how can we prepare for this so like it doesn't happen again, and we can at least broaden the time between when they do happen.
Yeah, and I liked your whole idea how you were able to realize all those things that he was lacking in. So I
Yeah.
think from now on we should have a step. It's like, okay, if someone buys Off-White, let's make sure their page is good, they have a couple of reviews. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, we can move on. And sometimes it's like what you're saying, right? Like it's a run of the mill, like we're selling like hundreds of pieces, like, and now all of a sudden we're gonna create this new system to like deter people from like defrauding us.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's gonna be a bit like, I guess like annoying at times, but I think it's for the best for our business. And realistically,
Yeah.
it takes like 3 extra seconds.
It literally takes 3 extra seconds. The only thing I don't want to get caught up in is like I don't want us to get like paranoid. Like I don't want us to be like, oh, like this guy only has like 4 things listed on his site, and like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like the likelihood of this realistically happening.
It's probably like one in every 100 times.
Yeah, like it's really not that high, and like realistically, like it's a loss that it sucks, but we can't afford it right now, so. It could be
Yo, but
worse.
honestly, it's kind of annoying though, cause like I'm not even thinking about ourselves, cause like we're like a quarterly established business, not even like a semi-established.
Yeah.
So a young kid now that like this is like his one piece of Off-White, he's just gone to the reselling game, you know what I mean? And for him to like be scammed out of his pair of Yeezys
No, it's not.
or like his
It's not
Supreme and
good.
stuff like that, like it sucks. But the thing that I've noticed though, it's not necessarily our industry, it's the internet culture.
It's the
Like,
internet in general.
like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it happens with everything.
It
happens
happened
with everything.
even when we first started this. The amount of people that were like, Remember that guy that was like, "Oh, I'll send you two MacBooks right now and trade for your Off-White."
Yeah.
Like, it's like, clearly you're not sending two brand new
After
MacBooks.
this was the part that got me. I was like, "What year is it?" He's like, "2018." I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, that makes
Like,
no sense.
clearly that's not what's gonna happen. So it is something that just comes with the game, and like you just kind of have to be smart about who you're selling to, especially if it's a high. Like,
Honestly, sometimes it's not even about being smart. It's like you have to be willing to, like, can you survive the loss?
yeah.
Like, and unfortunately, I think that's what business is. It's like, okay, you're gonna have a lot of losses, but you know, can you at least get one win that overcomes all those things? You know.
Yeah. No,
And,
for sure.
and we're gonna constantly go through this, you know.
For sure.
And especially like at the volume that we're moving at too, it's probably gonna happen even more frequently.
For sure.
More frequently, but
That teaches
it's kind of a good problem to have in a way.
It is. It is.
Sometimes it depends on where you are in your business.
It is.
So yeah, is there any final things that you want to add in before we get out of here?
I think we can save it for our next podcast. But we're preparing for our upcoming event in the big
New York City,
NYC.
Big Apple.
The big NYC.
Mhm.
So that'll be for next week's podcast. We'll fill you guys in on what happened with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. You guys are gonna see us. We're gonna be like off the wall. We're gonna be excited.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna meet a lot of people. We're gonna sell so much stuff.
Yeah.
So like I'm excited.
For sure.
I'm putting it out there. Eh? I'm putting it out
Put
there.
it out there, babe.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
It's out. Okay, guys. Thank you so much again for joining us for another episode of Business is Pleasure. Please take the time to like and share so we know that you care. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up either on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. Until next time, peace.